What's up YouTube, it's Zapdos TCG here and welcome to another TCG deck profile video on my channel. Today it's time to get fired up with Reshiram Charizard GX. This is going to be the first place winning deck list of the Santa Clara Regionals, a huge regionals, and Kian Amini actually became first, so big shout out to him for actually making it all the way to the first place with of course Charizard and Reshiram. So I'm going to be explaining the entire deck. The funny thing is that there's only 2 copies of Reshiram Charizard GX in here, making it a little bit more budget friendly, and then 4 baby Volcanion, but more on that later. Gonna explain every single card in this deck list so you guys are ready and yeah, just try and use it out for yourself. If you want to see more deck profile videos, you came to the right address. Be sure to subscribe. I'm going to be uploading all the best deck lists in town. Definitely making yourself ready for the World Championships or for the upcoming tournaments. Okay. First things first, Reshiram Charizard GX. This is going to be the main attacker of the deck. It has 270 HP, it has Outrage, dishing 30 damage plus 10 more for every damage counter on yourself. So you don't always have to like use the second attack or the GX move. Sometimes you have enough damage counters on yourself to knock the opposing Pokemon out, because if, let's say you have 26 damage counters, the maximum amount, you dish out 290, with Choice Band 320, so everything will go down if you have enough damage counters on your Reshiram and Charizard GX. Flare Strike is going to be the most OP attack ever, because all non-tag team GXs will die to this. There's of course those exclusions like Solgaleo GX, the promo one that had 250 HP and does not have any single weakness. But most relevant GXs, think about Lycanroc, think about Zoroark, will go down with this attack. You also hit weakness against popular Pokemon like Buzzwole and Pheromosa, so it's good to be a fire type. We can abuse things like Welder, which can accelerate energies, but more on that later. There's also Double Blaze GX dishing 200 damage, and if you have 3 extra energies attached, which is not that hard, let's say you use a Welder, you survive a hit, you use another Welder after you've used Flare Strike or whatever, you can start doing this, and then this attack dishes out 300 damage, enough to one-shot every Reshiram and Charizard in an opposing mirror match, that is. But of course we have Choice Band and Kukui to dish the damage output for Flare Strike to be able to one-shot opposing mirror matches, so Reshiram and Charizard will go down to itself thanks to Choice Band and Kukui. So yeah, this third attack, the GX move, also goes through every effect on the opponent's attack, so you can go through Wild Plumes, through Hoopas, whatever you please. So 2 copies of that is in the deck. Then there's going to be this one. There's going to be Eevee and Snorlax. Cheer Up will make sure you have energy acceleration, but we're not going to be using it for that. It's all thanks to the Dump Truck Press, which dishes out 120 damage. And if you're facing an evolution Pokemon in the active slot, you dish out 240 damage. That is a lot of damage. With Choice Band, you one-shot every evolving GX in history, so that is amazing. There's also Megaton Friends, which dishes out 210, and if this Pokemon has at least an extra energy attached to it, you can draw cards until you have 10 in the hand. So it's basically like Lily but on steroids, as you can see, and cards until you have 10. It will make sure you have everything you want, your copies of Welders, whatever. We're gonna play Snorlax over here. Then yeah, the main star of the show. Everybody thought like, oh, this Volcanion is not as good like the one from Steam Siege, but yeah, they proved it wrong. 4 copies of that means that it plays a crucial role in here. Not only is this Pokemon able to just have of course a great matchup against Zapdos, it increases the matchup. Actually, you typically, if you have Reshiram and Charizard out there, the thing that happens is they use Coco GX and all that stuff, and you're saying like, oh, how do I just keep streaming attackers? Well, Volcanion is actually very good against Zapdos. It has of course the Flare Starter, which makes sure you have energy acceleration. You can search your deck for a fire energy and attach it to one of your Pokemon. But if you go second and yeah, it's your first turn, you can just search your deck for 3 fire energies and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. So if you start with this and you lose the coin flip, they go first, no problem, get out Volcanion and use that Flare Starter attack. That way you can accelerate energies onto either Snorlax or the Reshiram and Charizard, or even onto your own Volcanions. You can go full baby Volcanion because it also has the High Heat Blast, dishing out 50 damage, and if you have at least 4 energies in play, which is actually happening thanks to the Flare Starter, you can dish out 60 more damage. That means you dish out 110. And yeah, if you do the math correctly, 110 is just eating Zapdos alive. So you're having a hard time against Zapdos, put these baby Volcanion in your ReshiZard list and you're gonna be having a good time. This is gonna be the maximum amount, 4 copies of the baby Volcanion. That way you're automatically having a good matchup against, of course, Zapdos. The Eevee and Snorlax will help against Zoroark, but also ReshiZard is just good on its own. So that is going to be the Pokemon lines. I know there's not a lot of Pokemon in here. In total, there's going to be 7 Pokemon in this deck list. The first place winning deck list of the Santa Clara Regionals. So let's put everything in place here. Now we're gonna go over the supporters. Supporters is actually very, how do you say it, consistent, very streamlined. There's gonna be 4 copies of Welder. If you guys are not familiar with Welder, you've been sleeping under a rock, this is the best supporter out of the Unbroken bond set, and makes you draw cards into, actually you can draw 3 cards and attach 2 fire energies at once. This is just everything at once. First you attach 2 fire energies from your hand to one of your Pokemon, and then you can just draw 3 cards. So it's basically like how, but then a million times better. So get rid of your house. Welder is the way to go. Next up, we're gonna have Green's Exploration, also a fantastic supporter, which lets you search your deck for 2 trainer cards. That could be a supporter, a stadium, item, it doesn't matter, you can choose 2 of them. Trainer cards on the left top corner here, so you can just get your stadium, your supporter for next turn, whatever you please with Green's Exploration, as long as you don't have abilities in play. And since we're running a deck with 0 abilities, it's fantastic. Some people play ReshiZard with, of course, the Jirachi. That doesn't work, Green's Exploration, if you play Jirachi, but this is a Green's Exploration list, which means the supporters you want to use typically actually is Welder and Green's Exploration. Those are the combo pieces you want. Next up, 2 copies of Guzma will make sure you can target the opponent's bench Pokemon. There's also Custom Catcher in here as a little spoiler. Custom Catcher can also target that, but this Guzma is also a way to search it out with things like Green's Exploration. Let's say for next turn, you just knock something out, you know you're gonna knock something out this turn, you get your Guzma for next turn and bam, if they don't Marshadow you or judge you, you're gonna be good. And there's gonna be 2 copies of Kukui in here. Kukui is a supporter that's gonna get rotated out, same as Guzma, but yeah, we have Custom Catcher to replace the Guzma, but we don't have a replacement for Kukui. It's a little bit sad. If you want to just have like post-rotation shenanigans going on, maybe a Mew that places damage counters around could help out. But Kukui dishes out an additional 20 damage, which is necessary. If you compare, of course, the Flare Strike, it only dishes out 230. With a Kukui, that's 250. With a Choice Band, 280. That means in a mirror match, we're gonna have an edge right there. Then there is gonna be 3 one-off copies. There's gonna be 1 copy of Judge for Hand Disruption. You always want to have Hand Disruption. Let's say, oh no, the opponent is playing like a Salazzle, a Gnome hand. You always want Hand Disruption in your deck nowadays, so just to prevent that kind of win mechanic. There's also the way to just, the opponent can break. If you just start with a Judge, you can just have, of course, your first turn Judge, and they sometimes can break. There's 1 copy of Acerola, putting our Pokemon back to the hand if it's damaged. This mainly helps for Reshiram and Charizard. You use Outrage, then you get damaged some more. Oh, you're almost knocked out, no problem, Acerola, and of course, you can then get Volcanion back in the active and has energy acceleration and stuff. So yeah, Acerola is definitely a main part of the deck. And then 1 copy of Lieutenant Search Strategy. Why is this in here? Sometimes it happens when you fall behind. What do you do then? Well, there's no way to use Guzma and Acerola at the same time, or Welder and Guzma at the same time. Those are combos that you definitely want to make, or a Kukui and a Welder. That could also work out if you're behind in prize cards. If you play this Lieutenant Search Strategy, you can play 2 supporters after that. So you play Lieutenant Search Strategy, then you play something like a Welder, draw into a Kukui, and you can play that Kukui immediately. So that is going to be fantastic. Next up, we're going to talk about the item cards. Yeah, item cards, of course, is going to be 4 copies of Nazball to search your Pokemon out. This is a list without Ultra Ball. Nazball will search your entire deck. Everything is basic. I know you might seem weak against Vileplume, but there's going to be some ways to go about this. Not only is the GX move able to go through Vileplume, there's also another way to go about certain abilities. Like if you're saying, oh no, we're facing Hoopa, there's also a way to just go through it with a GX. There's going to be 4 copies of PokéGear. PokéGear and Green's Exploration are best friends. PokéGear searches either your Welder or your Green's Exploration, so it helps search out for supporters. So no need for Jirachi, no need for Tapu Lele GX. PokéGear is your main way to find your supporters. There's 4 copies, a maximum of that. Then, the most surprising thing of the list is going to be 4 copies of Custom Catcher. This list does not even run things like Oranguru to draw cards. We all got familiar with that. The thing here is with Custom Catcher, you can draw cards until you have 3 in the hand. Let's say you have a low hand size. Sometimes they Marshadow you. You have a terrible hand. Custom Catcher can save you from those moments. But there's also the way if you play 2 Custom Catchers at the same time, you can target one of the opponent's bench Pokemon. And with that, you have additional Guzma. So that is going to be your 3rd and 4th Guzma in certain situations. That way you can just play your Welder down while using Custom Catcher, and that is going to be the main strategy here. You want to use Welder almost every turn to accelerate energies or Green's Exploration for your setup, and there's no way to use, of course, Guzma and of course Welder at the same time, so that's why they opted to go for Custom Catcher. Then some fire item cards. We're gonna have Fiery Flint. If you're not familiar with Fiery Flint, it's amazing. You discard 2 cards from the hand, just like Ultra Ball, getting some stuff, thinning out your deck and stuff, thinning out your hand. But then you can search your deck for 4 fire energies. So you discard 2 cards from the hand, no problem. Then use Fiery Flint, bam, getting all those energies in the hand, which will make Welder work fantastically. There's also Fire Crystal. Fire Crystal is also an amazing item card that works for fire type energies. You can get 3 of them from the discard back in the hand, which again works with Welder. So if you have like lots of energies lost, no problem. The discard is the safest place to be, because there's gonna be of course those nasty Shedinja Slowking decks that want to get rid of all your energies. No problem here with Fire Crystal. They're in the discard pile. You can get them whenever you want, and with Welder you can attach them immediately. Next up, there is gonna be 2 copies of Choice Band. Choice Band is still around, it's gonna get rotated soon, I know. Same for Nazball, that is the only items that we're gonna lose so far. And the bad thing about losing Choice Band is gonna be having the one-shots on Tag Team GXs. But for now, we have Choice Band, we have Kukui, we can one-shot anything in the format. And that is just fantastic. I know things like Magikarp and Welder have 300 HP, but you don't come across those very often. And even if you go with them, they need a bazillion amount of energies to be hitting for weakness. So we are not even afraid of them. Okay, then we are gonna have 5 one-off items. There's gonna be a switch. Switch is sometimes necessary when you start with Eevee and Snorlax and you don't want to have that in the active. You want to go for Fire Starter. That is a way to get out of there. Green's Exploration searches it out. PokéGear searches Green's Exploration. It's good like that. There is 1 copy of a Rescue Stretcher in here as well, because a Rescue Stretcher, believe it or not, can get back your Snorlax. Because you're only playing 1 and you only play 2 ReshiZards. Usually that is enough, but sometimes there's 1 prize and you want to reuse 1, so Rescue Stretcher is in here. There's also 1 copy of Max Potion in here. Max Potion can heal you up completely. You might say, why is that necessary? Well, sometimes you want to just hinder the opponent that they don't take 3 prize cards. Let's say you have a damaged Reshiram Charizard. No problem, you just use something like a Max Potion, heal it off completely, use a switch, go to Volcanion, attach an energy and just set yourself up once again. So there's also the way of playing Welder, so you just want to prevent the opponent from taking prize cards with Max Potion. There's 1 copy of Field Blower in here as well. Field Blower is just necessary because a lot of Pokemon are playing those nasty tool cards, and there's of course Spell Tag, which is very nasty, but I think this is also working out to just get rid of the opponent's stadium cards from now and then. There's also of course stadiums that we're running from our own that we can overlap, but Field Blower gets rid of the opposing choice bands from the opponent. That will make it very hard for the opponent to one-shot our Reshiram and Charizard if it's fully healed. That means in a mirror match, Field Blower is very important, and it also works out for more tool cards right there. There is going to be Stealthy Hood. This is an interesting item card. I'm just going to put it on the screen a little bit because not many people are familiar with it. Prevents all effects of your opponent's abilities done to the Pokemon this card is attached to. So this means you can, let's say Hoopa have the Scandrel Guard. I think you can go through that. If this is attached, you can just go through that. Also works out with Vileplume, I think, so that's why it's in here. This is going to be the main strategy to go through those nasty wall Pokemon that we cannot touch. So if you equip it to Charizard, you can go through them, and that is going to be the fantastic way to go about this. You can also be starting like a 1-1 Arcanine list, Arcanine Tech. I've seen that before against Vileplume as well, but I think this also works. So I just have to recheck that, but I do think so. Alright, then there's going to be the last couple of cards. There's going to be 1 Heat Factory and 2 Power Plant. The Power Plants are actually very, very great. Not only do you just demolish Whimsicott if it ever sees play, the Power Plant shuts down things like Zoroark GX with its straight ability, things like Dedenne GX. We are not playing Dedenne as well, so Power Plant is not even hindering us. Power Plant means they can no longer rely on Dedenne GX, Tapu Lele GX, Zoroark GX, Zeraora GX providing free retreat, and all GX abilities are just shut down. So that is fantastic, and Heat Factory is just consistency. Let's say the Mars Shadow was, oh, it's Heat Factory, we get an energy as well. Bam, we're rolling once again. Heat Factory should be in every fire deck. And then talking about fire, we're going to have the energies. We're going to be having 4 fire energies together with another 4 and lined up with another 3, meaning you have 11 fire energies in total, and that should last you through the game because of the fire crystals and of course Fiery Flint searching everything out. So this is gonna be the entire list right here. So let me know what you think about the first place winning list of Kian Amini. I think it's just fantastic seeing Custom Catcher already seeing play, even though this is a pre-rotation deck. It actually is it actually won one of the biggest regionals. So regionals are always huge. A lot of players attend huge tournaments like that, and this came out on top. This means it's very good. It's not a post-rotation deck, but we're gonna be focusing on post-rotation like a couple of weeks just before Worlds. That is the best time to talk about post-rotation. For now, try it out, win a couple of league challenges, league cups with it, and let me know what you think about ReshiZard, of course, with the baby Volcanions thrown in there. Anyhow, this was Zelda's TCG. Hopefully you enjoyed the video me talking about the deck list that won and the Santa Clara Regionals. If you want to see more content like this, as mentioned, be sure to subscribe. I'm going to be making more deck profile videos very shortly, and of course, if you want to learn about the competitive scene, this is going to be the best place to do it. Anyhow, thanks again for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.